InObscuria.
Welcome back, my friends, to the InObscuria podcast, a podcast where we exhume obscure rock and punk and metal, and we put them in one of three categories: the lost, the forgotten, or the should-have-beens. That over there is Robert Harrison, and I'm Kevin Williams. I switched it up. You see that?
Oh, yeah, it threw me off.
It threw you off.
I've been waiting patiently for this moment, Kevin.
You get first. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. I don't have any fingernails.
Get up. I didn't hear the psst.
It didn't really.
Well, it just kind of went click.
That was not my best performance right there. I'll take it, though.
Well.
I need it.
Beer opened. Check.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
We had some good beer last night.
Good. Yeah, this is good beer.
What is that beer?
This is Creature Comfort Bibo, B-I-B-O.
That is a local Georgia brewery.
Yeah, Creature Comfort, local
Athens, Georgia.
Yep, northeast of us, a good bit. But yeah, last night it was Tres Riveras.
No, it was Three Taverns.
Tres Tavernas. Yeah, it was Three Taverns. That's also
brewery.
Local, isn't it?
It is a local brewery in Atlanta, Georgia.
It was damn good. It's tasty.
And I think I tried 3 different beers, and they were all yum.
And you had a meat pie.
And I had a meat pie.
I think that's
and my nephew had 2 meat pies.
2 meat pies. He could handle 2 meat pies.
He said, "Thank you, sir. Can I have another?"
I arrived a little late for the meat pies, but so yeah, we'll have to do a concert review real quick and get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's do that. So who did we see, Robert?
Fever Dog.
What the hell did you just say?
Yes, we went to see we saw Wolf Mother, and we just happened to see Fever Dog.
Fever Dog, yeah. And I got home and, of course, couldn't remember the name of that band. I looked up Fever Dog, and there's very different search results in Spotify for that. There was some dance mix type song for that name. So, yeah, I just found out the real band. It was the opening act was pretty amazing in the sense that the show they put on, they thought they were the main event, which is kind of fun because they had the swagger of a main event. They did every possible trick you could pull off, including not one but 2 different solos where the rest of the band leaves the stage.
An opening band.
Everybody leaves the stage. The guitar player stays out, does an extended solo worthy of Eddie Van Halen. The band comes back, and then later band leaves again, and the drummer does a drum solo and then comes back out. And this is choreographed to the nth degree. You could tell it was a lot of fun to watch. They were young kids.
They seemed young.
In their 20s.
Apparently they've been around for a little bit of time.
Yeah, they've been around for 9 years.
Let me just lay this out for people. So Wolf Mother, most people know Wolf Mother. They had some big success, 15, 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
And, they are kind of a retro rock, classic rock kind of sound, acid rock kind of sound, hard rock, whatever you want to call it, but they're killer. Great band from Australia. And so the band they have opening for them, Fever Dog, comes out. The guitarist comes out first and has a guitar synth going on. He's not even playing guitar. It just sounds like synth. And he's wearing this white kind of jumpsuit.
Yep, the zipper front jumpsuit.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very much, and the first thing I thought, and even had like one sprig of hair that was, I don't know, was it dyed or whatever it was.
Glitter or something.
Glittery, and they had a little bit of face paint on it. And so the first thing I thought was, oh my God, they're going to give us exactly what Angel used to be in the 70s. It's exactly who they reminded me of. And so he's doing like the synth thing, kind of building up, and then everybody walks out. Actually, they do kind of like a little run. It reminded me of
they jog onto the stage. They kind of jog off. And they've done this before.
Very Partridge Family looking too. Yeah. Very 70s looking, all in the white jumpsuits. Every guitar player had a white guitar except for the bass player, who did not get the memo.
Had a lime green or teal green.
Teal green guitar.
Kind of stood out. I want to know what the conversation was behind the scenes. Like, Steve, look, we told you. God, man.
White.
You had one job.
We're all doing white.
It's all white.
Which is exactly what Angel did in the 70s because they were on Casablanca Records and they wanted them to be the opposite of Kiss. I'm sorry, of
that band that we don't talk about.
I did say it. Kiss. There's your first Kiss connection with a K because they even pulled out the Paul Stanley rants and
oh God, in between the songs,
the raps.
Are you ready, people?
So anyway, they look like Angel, and then they start playing, and they sort of sound like Angel, and then all of a sudden I lean into Robert like, oh my God, it sounds just like The Sweet.
Yes.
And then later on, other songs sound just like Kiss.
Blitz.
It's exactly what it sounded like. So they ripped off everybody.
Everybody, not just Angel, not just Sweet Kiss. I mean, every
all
Nuja,
glam.
there was not the
Nuja
visual.
moment.
I mean, nobody's in a loincloth or swinging on vine.
They had a song that was Stranglehold-esque.
Stranglehold-esque, absolutely. So yeah, they went down the list and just ripped off everybody. Which, if you're going to do that, that's how you do it.
The solos were very much rip-offs as well. I would not consider any originality in those
they were
solos.
not, enthusiastic solos, but they were cool.
Yeah, but they were very entertaining, and even like I said, the stage raps. They were doing the Paul Stanley stage raps and really trying to sell the merch. I was thinking, wow, who were these guys? And then I remembered, oh yeah, we used to do that too.
Yeah,
we were just like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what Big Jack.
That was your job. While I was tuning my guitar, you would go.
I was the hype guy.
Yep, paying for the gas money home.
Yeah, so they did remind us, or reminded me a bit of our band.
Because they put on a show, and that was our goal.
They commanded the audience.
Our goal was not to have the best music necessarily, but our goal was to have the most fun.
Right.
And I think we pulled that off.
I think these guys were doing the same thing. Now, I will say the two solos were unnecessary and should be dropped from the set, in my opinion.
I don't know. It was so cheesy to have two of them. But yeah, as the opening band, I don't know how the main. I don't know how Wolfmother thought about it. They didn't care at this point.
They must love them because they gave them
They had a long
praise.
set.
They gave them a long set, so I think they're fine. I think they're buddies.
Yeah.
But the other thing is we ran into previous band members,
not just one.
So we ran into Kent Oberle, who's been on the program. He and his girl Kiva. We ran into them, and my nephew was there. Camden was there with me and Robert, and then we ran into our bass player from Mercy Beat,
which is Kevin and Mine's.
What the hell did you just say?
Very first band together.
Which was more of an acoustic.
Yeah, but Paul had been in previous bands with you.
Yes, Paul was the bass player in Minor Earth and then also in Soul Speak.
So yeah, it was a weird convergence of 3 or 4 different bands that we were joking that if we had tried to do that on purpose, that we never would have gotten everybody in the same room, but we just all ran into each other at the same concert.
Yeah. So what'd you think about Wolfmother?
Loved it.
I did too. It was so bare bones. It was just pure rock and roll.
I did miss the Hammond. That's one of my favorite things.
Keyboard too.
His own Mother, when he just starts banging away at that thing and it goes crazy. They do it in the video, but
on Woman.
Yeah, I said Mother, Woman. Yes, and they still pulled it off well though. He went into some guitar solos in the middle of that in exchange for the Hammond, so I think he made up for it.
Andrew Stockdale is just awesome.
He's got that really high voice that he's able to pull off some crazy high notes even after 20 years, and then playing great guitar riffs while he's singing.
That's what I was going to mention. Is he's one of those guys that can play the rhythm and the lead at the same time and sing. Because he would play the main riff and you wouldn't miss it. You wouldn't miss a beat, even though he would kind of lay off for a second to play a little bit of lead bits here and there, but you wouldn't miss the rhythm being gone. I don't know. There's a certain finesse to doing that because your timing has to be perfect.
And it's funny that I had been listening to Wolfmother, I think, for 2 or 3 days before I saw the ad let me know they were coming in concert. So it worked out perfectly that I had gone back and kind of refreshed my memory on some of the deeper stuff before the show. So yeah, if you have not checked them out or you're not a fan necessarily, go back and listen to that. It's really good hard rock. This 3 guys making a lot of noise, very similar to another band we don't talk about from way back when. What's their name? Rush! And that's your Rush reflection with an R.
Ooh, I like that.
Bam! Copyright.
Nice. Well, that's you from now on. You have to come up with one every episode.
Damn it. Never mind.
You heard it here, folks. All right. Well, what else is going on? I agree. I think Wolfmother was amazing. They're one of my favorite bands from the 2000s and remain killer. I felt bad because I didn't know that they had released another album in 2021. I missed that album somehow. So I was digging through. It's like,
playing catch up.
I was like, maybe they're promoting a new album. And I go and look, I'm like, damn, that album's been out since 2021. I've never heard it.
New, but new to you.
But that's what they were promoting.
It's new to Kevin Williams.
Yeah, so I felt bad about that, but it's really good.
Yeah.
called Rock Out.
They did.
And
Thankfully,
that's what they did.
They just left it there.
Yeah, nothing but a curtain behind them and some lights.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing.
it.
The most minimalist stage show. Not even their name.
No.
Now, most bands that will do a banner or something behind them, so you can remember who you just paid money to go see.
Or you look on the kick drum. What was on the kick drum? Nothing. It was black.
Yeah, they're like, if you don't know who we are at this point, you've bought the tickets. You waited in line. You don't need to know who we are. We're nameless from Australia.
Just badass.
Yeah, it really was. A lot of fun, a lot of noise from those guys, a lot of sound, a lot of power. First mosh pit I've seen in a while.
I know. They were moshing to one of the, I forget which song it was, but it was one of the more folky songs.
Yeah,
it has like a fast beat in the middle, and they were moshing to it.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected them to. But these guys were all in their, I would say, late 20s, early 30s, which puts it, that was their high school
times,
music. And these guys that were just reliving their high school days. So that was a lot of fun to see because it stayed about 6 people in front of us, which is perfect.
We were in the right spot.
Yeah, I was eating chicken wontons or something with chopsticks. So this venue is called the Eastern. It's a brand new venue, maybe not brand new, a year or so old, but it's really nice. I mean, this is how venues should be. Plenty of restrooms, plenty of bartenders, and they had some food you could order because it had been, an hour and a half, 2 hours since I'd eaten. So I was dying. And so middle of the show, in between the two acts, I went and got some food and rocking out, eating some food. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is what's been missing from a lot of concerts. Just some good food.
I agree.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
Nothing unrock and roll about having some good food while you're rocking out.
I've never seen anyone eat out of a to-go Chinese box with chopsticks.
With chopsticks.
During a concert.
Yeah, and you raise the chopsticks up with like the rock and roll devil horns. It works.
Extended devil horns.
And if that mosh pit came any closer, I was going to start stabbing people in the eye.
Poking eyes.
Yeah. Get back. Idiots.
Anything else that we need to let the people know? You mentioned last time that there may be a reason for me to play some music, but...
Nah. I didn't have time, man. I was supposed to do that today, but I made a...
All right.
Yeah, I've been playing with the balls.
You've been playing with your balls?
Playing with my balls, but they're not quite ready for public consumption yet, so we'll save that for one more week. But yeah, so what do you think your most expensive mistake is to date?
My most expensive mistake?
Yeah, that cost you money.
It has to be a car accident, I would assume.
Yeah, I could see that.
I can't think of anything
But insurance
bigger.
pays for it, though.
But insurance pays for that.
Yeah.
Oh, huh. Nothing's coming to mind. I think you probably have something.
Yeah, this is the latest. So my latest mistake cost me $4,000 today.
Oh, a little one.
$4,000. Yep, that was it.
What'd you do?
Chump change. I didn't notice that my painters had painted started to paint 4 rooms before I could tell them, hey, those aren't included.
Oh!
So because they'd started like sanding and prepping, we had to finish the job. I couldn't just leave it like that.
So you had to pay for that?
Yeah, out of my pocket. Because the painters, wasn't their mistake.
That homeowner is so happy right
Yeah, they're
now.
getting an entire, and this is a mansion, a big buckhead mansion.
These are big rooms?
Yeah, this is not like a tiny little mobile home full of rooms. No, these are huge. So it's probably...
These are $4,000 rooms.
2,000 square feet extra that I didn't charge for, and I'm having to pay the painters. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's good. Great.
Dumbass. Oh my God.
Now, why is it not their fault? Why is it your fault?
Because
you didn't tell them not to.
It's my job. I have to be clear about things, and it's my job to clarify what they need to do. I'm the GC, and therefore it all comes back to me. It wasn't their fault. It was a miscommunication, but it was a miscommunication on my part, so I can't make them do it for free.
Okay.
That would hurt them a lot more than it would hurt me, so got to take it up the shorts, man.
Take it up the shorts.
Yeah.
Ow.
Ouch. Oh, yeah, that hurt.
All right.
Yeah, then I'd tell the homeowner, I'm like, yeah, I'm that dumb. Yeah, we're up there because he asked me. He's like, oh, we didn't ask. I'm like, yep, I know you didn't ask for that, but we're doing it anyway. Guess what?
Just a little present from us to you.
Just because I love you guys so much that we're just going to do it out of the goodness of my heart, son of a goddamn.
Well, you know what you should have done. After you spend $4,000 on absolutely nothing, go listen to Pot of Thunder, Cobras and Fire, Growing Up Rock, Slamfest Podcast, Decibel Geek, A to Z Radio, Metal Up Your Podcast, The Hustle, Disciples of the Watch, Podcast Rock City, Sean Geek and Fast Fret Podcast, State of Amorica, Rock Strikes 10, Potter Than Hell, Shout It Out Loudcast, The Ron Keel Podcast, The Kiss Room, Ages of Rock, Retro Zest Podcast, and Doomed! Forget about Monty.
Hey, it's Monty.
Monty's Rockcast. Come visit us, InObscuria.com, like us, share us, Facebook, X, Instagram. I haven't checked any of the sites for reviews. So maybe we have one, maybe we don't. If we don't, I'm going to cry next week.
I don't even know how to log into the other ones. I can get on the Facebook account, but not the Instagram or anything like that.
The Instagram. Nope. I see a bunch of people jumping off X.
Oh, well, I mean, every week there's another reason to do that.
Yeah. So I don't know how long we'll be on there.
Yeah,
maybe no reason.
Just let it linger.
You got to let it linger. That was a good song.
That was a good song.
I like that one.
She's no longer
Not
with
when
us.
I sing it, though.
No,
not really good.
No. Me neither.
Not
I
good
can't
at all.
pull off a cranberry.
All right, so Robert, this week, I just got to tell you, ever since the Marvelous 3 reunion,
Oh, that was so good.
I have just been nonstop revisiting a genre that sometimes I'm at odds with. It's one that I love, but in the past, I've found it a little embarrassing, like to roll down your windows on your car and blast this kind of music. It's definitely a guilty pleasure.
A lot of guys like Taylor Swift. It's okay. You can admit it.
Yeah, you know, that's where we're going. This is definitely a guilty pleasure.
Let me get my phone out.
I'll say the benefit of age has allowed me to just not give a shit anymore. And, you know, that's where I am in my life. I really don't care what anyone thinks, and I don't know why I ever did. I like what I like, and I don't care if it's syrupy, sweet music. So this week, we are going to revisit episode 206, Reigniting Power Pop, Volume 3.
I think I'm in the same boat with you. It's a love-hate relationship. It's one or the other. And it can be like
sometimes
the same
it's
band.
a little too sweet and syrupy, and other times it's just like, I just love it. I don't care.
Right. But even the same song, 6 months apart, maybe I might love it then, and then 6 months later, I'm like, no, too much.
Too much sweetness.
Too much sweetness.
So we've talked about this, obviously, twice before in other episodes. The phrase itself, we've mentioned. Little Petey Townsend came up with it in the late 60s to describe The Who. That's where power pop came from. And it is what it sounds like. It's syrupy, sweet pop music with a little bit of extra oomph.
A couple of windmills on the guitar.
Sometimes not as much oomph as you might want. That's why I'm kind of, some days I'm like, and other days it's like, oh, it's just good. It's great, no matter what. So we covered it in episode 74 and again in episode 113, and we covered various decades of it. So it's established itself in every decade since the 60s, since the term was first brought up by Pete Townsend. So in the 90s, we've played bands previously like Sloan and Space Hog, you know, which you may put in the alternative category because it was the 90s, but it really is power pop. We played from the 70s, we played the Babies, we played Stars, and then from the 80s, we played Enough's Enough and Hoodoo Gurus and a ton of other bands. So, you know, you can put some of these bands in other categories, but really when you look at it, it is just power pop. It is a pop song that has a little bit more edge to it. So it incorporates a lot of hooks, vocal harmonies, usually very energetic performances. This is usually the stuff that's really good live, like the Marvelous 3. Usually pretty happy sounding, which is why I have a love-hate thing with it, because sometimes I just want some darkness.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the band The Darkness,
But
although I do
sometimes you
want
want
that.
that. Yeah,
although I do
occasionally.
want that. But no, I'm just something a little bit darker is usually where I go with music. Here you get pretty happy stuff. And there's usually there is an underlying sense of kind of longing and despair in the lyrics, but not really in the music. So we're going to just kind of jump in. Like I said, it spans new wave, punk, glam rock, pub rock, college rock, psychedelic, whatever other labels you want to put on it. But when it comes down to it, we're talking about power pop. And we're going to start with a band that we last played on episode 181. I'm sure you remember that one well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Completely start to finish. Got it right here.
This band was covering an Eddie Money song on that episode, Take Me Home Tonight. They were covering, it was one of our cover episodes, and we both enjoyed their covers so much, we said, man, we need to revisit this band. So you know what? We're going to revisit this band. And you could call them a pop punk band. I'm going to call them a power pop band. So they're from Marysville, Michigan, formed in 2003. Their name is Every Avenue.
All of them.
All the avenues.
All of them.
Every single
3rd, 12th, 11th.
So we weren't familiar with them before, and I'll just kind of go over this again. They did fairly well, but I was not aware of them until the album where I got the cover song that they did, which was a Pop Goes 80s cover album. And I'd never heard of Every Avenue, but apparently in 2009, their second album reached number 136 on the Billboard 200. In 2011, their final album. It peaked at number 63 on the Billboard 200. So, they just didn't know about them back then. And they were one of those Vans Warped Tour bands. They sort of fell into obscurity after the whole pop punk era faded. Mm-hmm. But I think they're great, and I think they're definitely a power pop band. That's fun to say. Power pop band.
Yeah, microphones love it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to play a song from that album that did really well, the one that went to number 63 on Billboard. The album is called Bad Habits. I'm going to play a song called Tie Me Down.
It's not Friday night.
What the hell did you just say?
Okay, we saw what he can do with a 22 rifle. Now let's see what he can do with a tactical 12 gauge. Okay, get it. Holy shit.
Starting off with some classic rock and roll tambourine and hand claps.
So I was going to say, let's check off the Power Pop boxes checklist here. So tambourine,
check.
Hand claps, check. Did we have some oohs and ahs?
Yes,
check.
Three-part harmonies,
check.
Yep.
Could you do the white person dance very easily to it?
Even I could.
Okay, check.
Yeah, check. I think that covers it all.
I'm pretty sure this is a Power Pop song.
Yeah. And the intro reminded me of Thanksgiving's past. That is exactly what my family sounded like on Thanksgiving, because we would usually go to my...
Except they didn't have Chicago accents.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot about that part. Yeah. Hey, Bob. That's Webgate.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob. No, it was I. So, No, my family actually didn't have that bad of an accent. They were mostly educated, but everybody else did. Yeah, we go to my grandparents'
But you were
house.
still rednecks.
Yes, still. Oh, we were educated, right? Good old boys.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yes.
but right down the street from my grandparents was my uncle's farm, and we would end up over at the farm at some point during the day, which means guns would start coming out of the trunks of cars. And like, hey, look at this one I got. Oh, look at this one. I got this. Oh, let me shoot that one. Okay. And things would be shot and guns would be fired, and then we would set something on fire, like a bonfire, because my uncle would normally have like pushed together some brush into a pile just to have something to burn. And, people wonder where my proclivity is to set things on fire. And I'm like, well, you should have been there at Thanksgiving and Christmas and 4th of July and, firework time.
Any family event.
There were guns, fireworks, and fire. And this is coming from, let's see, one uncle, there are 3 brothers, my dad, the Baptist minister, second brother, master's degree in horticulture, super smart, biochemist type person, third guy, principal of a school. So you put all 3 of them together, and it was just anarchy on Thanksgiving.
You know what that is? American.
That was American right there. So yeah, I had a very good upbringing, very well-rounded.
Yeah, every Thanksgiving for me was on a farm as well.
Same thing?
Same thing. Well, we weren't shooting guns, though.
Oh, okay. But still, out in nature. What were you doing?
Well, we did have bows.
Oh.
So we were all bow hunters.
But it's a lot quieter. See, you've got better hearing than I do because we never wore hearing protection.
Yeah, and then my cousin Ken would end up shooting the bows or shooting the arrows at cars and things passing and really get in trouble. And
so tell me, did
windows
you or him ever decide to shoot it straight up into the air?
Of course, yeah. Yeah. And then you have to disperse and figure out exactly where it's going to come down.
What's wrong with you?
The scaredest my nephew has been was the day he did that, and it came down onto the hood of my 4-month-old Dodge Charger.
Oh,
put a big dent right in the middle of the hood.
Still there?
No, because after one of the 3 or 4 times other people hit me, it finally I paid extra to have that taken out. But no, he was scared. He thought Uncle Robert was going to strangle him, and I thought about it, but it quickly dissipated to, you know what, I've done much worse, so I better show him some mercy.
All right, well, that Every Avenue song came from 2011. Very much power pop. It could have been from the 90s.
Yeah,
as far as
that's the other thing. There's so many different eras that same exact song could come from.
The only thing you could tell is that the recording is really good.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been from the 70s or 60s, but still has the same appeal. All right, the next band we're going to play is from the year 2000.
In the year 2000.
And this is a band that I did not know about until reading a social post from Mr. Mike Portnoy, of all people, Mr. Prague drummer himself. He was going on a rant on his social about the Marvelous 3 this year and about how did he never know about this band.
That's a good rant.
Yeah, no, it was a good rant. He was like, how did I never know about this band? I even know Butch, and I never knew of this band, and how did I miss them? Apparently he's a huge Beatles fan.
Yeah.
And really the Beatles and the Who and not so much the Stones, but I think those 2 bands really, that's what power pop's based on.
Of course.
All the harmonies and the
tambourines,
the chunky guitars here and there.
So he knew Butch as a producer.
Yeah, so he knew Butch as a solo artist and as a producer, but he never heard of the Marvelous 3 back in the day. I guess he was touring with Dream Theater.
He's a little busy.
He's running in different circles. Yeah. They weren't on too many stages.
The antithesis
together.
of pop is that band.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you strip down all of the virtuoso shit they did, like they had songs, and well, I guess they still do. They're back together again, but they have songs and they have harmonies, so it's in there. It's buried deep.
But they're 5 minutes long.
But exactly, 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's going on about power pop, about Marvelous 3, and he said, I knew I loved Jellyfish and I love Fuzzbubble, but I had never heard of Marvelous 3. And I'm like, Fuzzbubble.
Google.
I am not familiar with Fuzzbubble. Who is this Fuzzbubble he speaks of? And so they are an American power pop band from Long Island, New York, active from 1995 to 2001. They were signed by Diddy. Sean Puffy Combs signed them to Bad Boy Records in the 90s. I don't know how that works out that Sean Combs actually signed them, but he did. So at that point in time, he's still Puff Daddy before he was Diddy.
And then Piff Diddy.
I don't know. God confuses me with his names.
Daft Pity.
So in 1997, they actually contributed a rock remix of a Puff Daddy song called It's All About the Benjamins. And then a year later, they had a track on the soundtrack to Godzilla. And they performed a song on the soundtrack for South Park. But yet I had never heard of them. Then they leave Bad Boy Records and whatever, they put out some more albums. I just never heard of this band. 3 full-length albums from 2000, 2002, and they actually put out another one last year. They got back together in 2022. I'm going to play from their 2000 album called Fuzzbubble, which is the name of the band, Fuzzbubble, and this song is Big Time Nowhere.
All right, most of the items checked off, but not all of them. There's no Power Pop hand clap, I don't believe.
I did not hear a hand clap.
But they made up for it with an Acapulco section.
See, with
They're singing Acapulco.
Yes, they were.
That was, and the guitar had a little bit of quirkiness to it, which puts it in my personal sweet spot because pure Power Pop a lot of times doesn't really grab me. Marvelous 3 is the exception. They don't do a whole, they're just straight ahead. They don't make any apologies about it, but it's so heavy and so well done that that's okay. A lot of other Power Pop that's just kind of vanilla doesn't grab me as much, but you put
I'm glad you said that.
A little bit of quirkiness or weirdness in it, and all of a sudden you've got my attention.
Which is, I think, a lot of people talk about Jellyfish, and they were like, I think that you're right. It's the quirky ones that make it a thing for me as well. Like Jellyfish is super quirky. Like you'll be rocking out and then all of a sudden they'll go into like a banjo section or something like completely weird with horns. You know, it's just bizarre. But I think it's the bands that, because it can come across very vanilla. Like I was talking about the white boy dance. Like if you can white boy dance the whole time.
Yeah, the first one was a formulaic. If you want to write or play really good power pop, or not good, but just authentic power pop, do everything that band just did. But if you want to stand out, you go just a little bit to the left or the right of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very much so. Okay, now, 2 episodes ago, we talked about Rockstar Spawn.
Not spawning, but
Not spawning.
not the act
we,
of.
We talked about the hatching
Yes.
of these little
The end
rock
results.
stars. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned the son of that platform boot wearing dude with the hairy chest and the
Todd Rundgren.
star on his face.
Oh,
Bootsy Collins. No,
Bootsy
no, it wasn't Bootsy. It was
Sting.
no, Sting. No, I'd love to see Sting in
It's
some
just fun-
platform
it was
shoes.
just
in
fun
there.
to say.
Yeah.
I had to say that.
Yeah, and I think it was that guy Paul from Kiss. There's your second Kiss connection with K, and I woke the dog up.
Yeah, it's usually the first or the second.
He had to
one.
scratch anyway, so he's scratching.
He was playing it off. I was like, no, that's cool, man.
No, I'm
I
good.
woke up to scratch, not because you said the Kiss word.
Yeah, so we talked about Evan Stanley a couple episodes ago, and we played his new band, Amber Wild, but we also mentioned that he used to be in a power pop band called The Dives. And I thought they were from L.A., but when I was doing a little reading on them, they're actually from New Jersey, so I'm not sure how that all worked out. But anyway, I saw this band on the cruise that I went on, the cruise with the K. Yeah, that cruise.
The Cool Cruise?
Yes. The Cool Cruise with the K. 2017-ish. I don't remember which one it was. I'd have to look it up, and I don't really feel like doing that. But anyway, I saw them. They
2016 was the one that I was on.
So it must have been the next
one, yeah.
Yeah. And they did like the pre-party, and then I believe they were on the boat as well. So I saw him a couple times. Evan was one of the guitarists. He sang a couple of leads, but mostly it was another guitarist who did most of the lead vocals. They were really talented. They put on a great show. It was, checking all the boxes of what a power
was his
pop
name
band
Ace
does.
Jr.?
Ace Jr. Yeah, no, it was not. I don't remember what
That would
it
have been
was.
great.
Well, the funny thing was they looked very out of place with the rest of the groups on the Kiss cruise.
Well, because they were under 40?
Well, that's part of it, but they also just didn't have that rock look. Like they were all short haired. They all kind of had this clean cut
More
look.
like Weezer.
Exactly. They looked much more, and they didn't even look that grungy or alternative. They were a little too clean.
Wasn't
for
the
that.
bass player last night for Wolfmother?
Exactly. That's what they all look like.
He
Just
looked
like that guy.
A chemical engineering student from Georgia
He
Tech.
probably was. That's what these guys all
He looked
look
really
like.
smart, too, but,
He was a good bass player.
great bass player.
Had a badass distorted bass tone.
Yeah, it was nasty.
But anyway, that's exactly what this band, The Dives, looked like. So they kind of stuck out a little bit, but they were kick-ass. They were great. Evan left that band after a couple of years, and they continued on as a trio, and it looks like they were playing... I don't know. I can't figure out if they're still together. It looks like their last post was last year when they were playing some shows, so I'm not sure what they've done this year. Maybe they're not together anymore, but all I could find was the one EP that I had with Evan, but even that's not on iTunes anymore. They do have 4 singles released, a couple singles in 19 and a couple singles in 2021, but I don't see the 2017 EP that I bought back in 2017, so I don't know.
Weird for it just disappear like that.
Yeah, kind of weird. But anyway, I do have that. I'm going to play from that EP with Evan playing on it. The EP is called Everybody's Talking, and even Discogs didn't have it listed, so I thought it was really weird.
Is it a concerted effort?
I don't know. We'll have to do a little more
Is it getting
digging.
canceled?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what happened that they are trying to erase this EP? Well, we're going to play from it.
We're going to do it. We're rebels.
Right, that's
Fuck
right.
you.
It's like pirate radio back in the day.
Screw you, man.
We're going to play the very, very check every box power pop song called Anticipation.
With her, you'll quickly learn that every word is so surprising. I'm just guessing time and again. She's destined to win, 'cause I'm caught up in this anticipation.
Picked up a heavy Elvis Costello-y vibe.
I was thinking the same thing. That's very Elvis Costello, which his first, especially his first, Attractions albums and all that stuff. They kind of considered it punk, but it was power pop.
Yeah, when people call it punk, I kind of side-eye that.
Yeah, I would too. I would never call Elvis Costello.
I'm sure you could make that connection somewhere, but for me, I mean, Radio, when he did that, it was a very rebellious song, but still, yeah, okay. You can call him punk if you want to, bless your heart.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either. So that had most of the things, once again, they're leaving out the power pop hand clap.
I thought I heard one up
Did you hear
at the beginning, but maybe it was just me putting it there in my head. I don't know. But there was definitely a lot of tambourine. Even at the end, there's a little tambourine
harmonies,
solo.
Yeah, it's danceable. So all that. But yeah, they got to work on the hand clap.
Tell you what I liked a lot was Evan's lead in the middle, man. He's got some tasty chops.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that from his dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, Paul didn't play that many. He plays a few, but not many leads.
When Ace was too drunk, he certainly did the time we saw him.
Well, this is true.
Elbowed him out of the way. We actually got to see that in person.
I remember Ace, that was on I guess that was the farewell tour.
Yeah, the first
Ace,
mini.
Remember Ace sat down with a Dixie cup.
Yeah, there was something.
Sat down, he had a red Dixie cup, and he just started drinking
right in the middle of the show. And I thought by now, I was like, okay, that was in the past.
Yeah.
We heard those stories.
Right, he was all clean.
No, apparently not. And stood up,
was
and
drunk
I
as
didn't
hell
know what was
that
going
show.
on. I thought it was part of the show at first until I realized, no, Paul just pushed him out of the way and started singing the words.
He was supposed to sing 2000 Man. That's the Rolling Stones cover song that Ace sings.
Yeah.
And he got up to the mic and couldn't remember a single word.
Yeah, and he just, like I said,
pushed
just
him out of
walked
the way.
over and gave him the elbow, and he said, fell out of the way. But yeah, that we got to see Ace in his prime drunkenness right there when he was supposed to have been clean 20 years ago.
Yeah, I believe that was 99. That was the farewell tour.
Yeah.
That was
Imagine
Ace's farewell.
Yeah, it wasn't the band. It's like, see you, Ace, you're out for good.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, let's go to a group that has a very, very close tie to a 90s alt power pop band that you and I really, really like.
Aught or alt?
Alt.
Okay, because
Alternative.
There's the aughts.
No, not an aught.
20
No,
aughts.
this is a 90s band. I guess they went into the aughts.
Yeah.
But we both like this band. I will mention one thing, and you'll know who the band is I'm talking about. The drummer played keyboards at the same time.
Oh, yeah. And we got to see him twice. We got to see him before Fame and after Fame, which is a
Different
really cool,
size venues.
and different clothes. They had a lighting show. They had fancy instruments.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah, semi-sonic, not completely sonic,
Yes.
just semi-sonic.
Semisonic. So this group we're about to play is the precursor to Semisonic.
Oh, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah. So the band prior to that was a band called Trip Shakespeare. And they were actually pretty famous. They were from Minneapolis, Minnesota. They were active from the 80s until the early 90s. Dan Wilson and John Munson, who were the guitarist and bass player in Semisonic, were in Trip Shakespeare. And I believe Dan's brother was also in Trip Shakespeare. And they did, self-released albums, a couple albums, and they got signed to A&M, and they released 2 albums in the early 90s. The problem with Trip Shakespeare was they were a power pop band, and they were very much like Jellyfish, and it just didn't have a place in what was the hair bands going out and the grunge coming in, and they weren't quite alternative enough because they were kind of the quirky power pop thing. And I think it just didn't work out, but they released several albums, like I said, and you can go back and check them out, and I think they're really, really good. I don't think the labels knew how to market them, and this is kind of the same fate that Jellyfish had as well. Critics loved them. Same thing with Jellyfish. Critics love Jellyfish.
Musicians love
them.
People in bands.
Influence a lot of musicians and a lot of other bands, but it just didn't sell records.
The King Crimson of modern times.
Exactly, yeah. So after they broke up, Dan and John formed Semisonic, and honestly, Semisonic were a power pop band, but,
but
they embraced the alternative.
Yeah.
And things had changed enough.
It had been late enough in the 90s, because that was, 98, 99?
Late 90s, yeah.
Yes,
So
it
the grunge was
softened up a little
gone.
bit.
It softened. It was
There's
more pop.
Plenty of the acoustic pop type stuff.
That was the time for power pop in the late 90s.
And he went on, I know that was their one-hit wonder technically, but the album's great. They had a couple other minor hits.
They had 3 good albums.
Yeah, and then he gets a lot of writing credits for other people now, I think.
Yeah, he's a big-time writer. We're going to hear some Trip Shakespeare from 1989.
I didn't know there was a pre-Semisonic. This is great.
And this is from the album. You're going to like this. Called Are You Shakespeareanced?
Well, I'm glad I showed up, Kevin.
This song is called Earth by Revolving.
That was high on the quirky factor.
I was going to say, is that quirky enough for you?
What year was that?
89.
89. Okay, that sounded more like 82 or 83, like a Oingo Boingo or Devo or something really early 80s quirkiness without the keyboards and synth.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's a good call. I bet that's exactly what they were going for, too.
So they had it all except for that, weird ass synthesizer going off in the background. But anyway, that
in 1989 they would have been put in the college rock category, right?
Yeah, that was like smart people music right there.
Right. It was too like cool for me.
Yeah, but there's a lot of references to theater and stuff that you had to digest with. I don't know. Smart people probably listen to that music, not me.
Right. Not blue collar enough for us.
No, it gets a little dirty.
I still love it. I think it's really cool, and it's an interesting listen.
I want to hear more than that, though.
Yep.
I want to go back and hear the whole album.
So that was off of their last independent release. They had 2 albums, independent releases, and then they got signed to A&M. So their 2 A&M albums are a little bit more focused, probably against delivering to A&M.
Yeah. This was just whatever the hell they wanted.
This was them doing their thing.
This was totally self-indulgent, you could tell.
But I can only imagine live, I bet they just packed bars, and I bet people just love that music, especially girls. I could just see girls dancing to that, like, oh, man.
Closing Time.
Exactly.
That was one of the songs that,
Yeah, I'm sure people hate that song, but that is a brilliant, brilliant song.
It gets played every night, every bar across the world almost.
Still.
Yeah, still.
Brilliant.
Yeah, genius.
All right. So, speaking of like hipster chic, cool bands that I heard of and didn't really know if I could listen to them, that's what we're going to talk about next. It's one of those bands that I heard about for years, but never actually heard them.
Yeah.
And their name is Big Star. Have you heard of Big Star?
No, but I thought you were going to say They Might Be Giants.
Oh, well, that's
another one of those bands.
They were quirky as hell.
A lot of my really smart friends loved to listen.
King Missile.
I like them.
Yeah, those were some quirky ass bands.
Yeah.
I never quite got into those. But Big Star was from the 70s. And I always assumed that they were like because they were talked about by musicians mostly in magazines that referred to Big Star. And, I was influenced by Big Star. And college radio would talk about Big Star. But I never heard the damn band. Didn't know anything about them. Never saw an album. And I just assumed they were some avant-garde like Velvet Underground, because that was another band that they talked about. Velvet Underground.
I didn't want to go there. I'm like, nope,
they suck. They're so bad. I love Lou Reed.
Yeah, but
Velvet Underground sucks to me.
I've tried. And I'm like, wow, I guess I'm just not smart enough to listen to this band. No, it sucks.
Just not good.
No, it's
I don't get it.
Nope.
But that's the same thing.
You got to really be pretentious to like that. That's what my theory is. You got to just think your stuff doesn't stink.
Well, some people say that about Radiohead, but I love Radiohead, but their later stuff does get a little out there.
Yeah.
But their early stuff, it rocks. But anyway, that's what I thought I was getting into with Big Star. When I finally heard this band, I was like, oh, they're a power pop band. And they're from the early 70s, so they're not too far removed from the Stones and that kind of thing, and the Kinks and the 60s British invasion kind of stuff. They were a band from Memphis, Tennessee, formed in 1971 by guitarist Alex Chilton, and he's another one of those guys that would be talked about like, oh, I'm influenced by Alex Chilton.
Yeah.
Who the hell's that?
Oh, I should have
never heard
put that
of this
on my
guy.
list. God, if we had to do it again, man, I would go back and find all those guys that I knew nothing about. I'd always just list them. Yeah.
Big influence.
Look
on
at me. Yeah, totally. King Crimson.
Like, really? He's a big influence on you? He only had 2 albums.
It's huge.
He had 2 albums.
Huge. What's your favorite song? All of them. I celebrate the entire catalog.
So Big Star lasted from 71 to 74. They only had 2 albums.
In and out.
But apparently they were a major influence, like I said, on every band from the first and second wave of punk and alternative and college bands and even grunge bands, because you heard them mentioned all the time in the 90s. And they were like the darlings of the critics. So Rolling Stone, here's a quote from Rolling Stone: the quintessential American power pop band, one of the most mythic and influential cult acts in rock and roll of all time. 3 of Big Star's studio albums are included in their top 500 albums of all time. Now, I said they only had 2 albums. They only released 2 albums while they were together. The 3rd album came out like years after they were already gone.
They swept up the floor and found some recordings. So get one of our staff members to go and do a search on how many times Rolling Stone magazine has referred to a band as the quintessential American power pop band. It's probably every 6 months, one of the reviews.
Well, they said that about The Who, and then they realized they weren't American.
Oh, that's right.
Damn it.
Damn.
So,
loopholes.
When I finally did hear Big Star, I appreciate it. I think it is power pop. It's cool. I don't get the overzealous accolades that they receive, but maybe I just need to dig in more. But
are we going to hear them?
We're going to hear them.
Okay, let me judge for myself here.
We're going to listen.
Don't poison the well here.
All right. So this is from their first album. It is called Number One Record. And
already I hate them. No, go ahead.
1972 is when this came out, and the name of the song is When My Baby's Beside Me.
Kind of want to hate them because of the buildup you did for it.
I know.
But they did do the claps, and
they're really good.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to come off as I'm going to hate them just because.
You dicks!
No, I did not hate them. I definitely need to listen some more because right now I was getting a very strong Partridge Family meets Bay City Rollers vibe. But
yeah,
maybe that's just because that's all we know.
Pop. Yeah,
that's what we saw as far as pop music was on the TV.
So here's my theory.
We were 5 years old.
Here's my theory because I think you're right on. That's kind of what they were. At the same time, in England in '72, you've got the whole glam movement going on, right? You got the T-Rex, the Sweet, and all that stuff going on. So I'm wondering if people think so much of them, or musicians think so much of them, because they never sold any records. Like they never got big, even though their sound was like could have been Partridge Family, could have been bubblegum,
Vanilla E
hit of the day, and they didn't have the hit. So I'm wondering if that's the reason. Like they didn't get the hit, so therefore they're cool.
Yeah, that's just like all the bands out there that are like that.
But I like it. I think it's really good, but I don't understand the praise that they get.
I never heard of them until now, so that's me.
All right. Well, don't let me deter you from going and checking them out because they are really good. It's just I always thought it was one of those bands where I'm like,
but that's also a mood.
Hear about them.
There may be a mood where like some of the Clapton stuff is like that. It's just jangly. it's not it's not Layla, but it's the third or fourth song on some of those albums that's kind of a poppy song that he's wired on 4 hits of coke and who knows what else, and he just made a pop song.
The sound of the guitar though did make me want to go find out, is he playing, you think that's a Telly or a Strat? Because it had that, I kind of think it's a Telly, but I could be wrong.
You are correct, sir. Yes!
We'll see what videos they got on MTV. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, no, we can't do
I
that.
don't think it's a Gibson, but we'll check it out and see.
Yeah, there were some beautiful guitars last night, weren't there?
Oh man, they had some
Gibson?
great. Oh, that
The
big
SG,
Gibson.
but then the huge white.
I think that
F-hole.
was a. I don't think that was a Gibson.
Oh, not?
No, I think it was.
Yeah! Oh no, sorry. I thought you were setting that up for some reason. I'm like, what?
No, I was trying to
take
think
that
of the
back.
brand.
That was
but
not a connection.
I think it's a Gretsch.
Gretsch.
I think it was the.
What did I say? Yeah, Gretsch. That was my dream
Gretsch.
guitar.
Yeah, what's the name of it? A White Penguin? I think that's what they call it.
Oh, seriously?
I think that's what they call that guitar.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I could never have that, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth had that guitar for a minute. I don't know if she still has
I
it.
remember that. Was it silver or white?
Well, the White Penguin's only white and has like this gold hardware. It's a beautiful
she had a
guitar.
Penguin?
She had.
I thought she had a silver Gretsch.
She does. She had 3 Gretsch guitars.
Nobody cares about this conversation, but that's okay.
Anyway,
that's half our
Yeah, she
podcast.
plays Gretsch. That's what she plays.
Beautiful
But
guitars.
Really beautiful. All right, so we're going to jump from 1972 all the way back to 2001.
In the year 2000.
And this is a band that I discovered. Another band. We've already talked about one. But another band that I discovered on a short-lived VH1 show called Bands on the Run.
How many seasons? Was it just one season?
One season.
That's right. It was only one.
It was a reality.
You and I really liked that.
Really loved the show. I thought it was great.
It was right at the time that we were doing the same thing. We're starting a band.
Yeah, so we've mentioned Flicker Stick. It's a Texas band that did power pop, but more alternative sounding music. Just really good stuff. They even had a little spacey edge to
a lot
their
of
stuff.
slower beats to it. It was a little drawn out.
Yeah,
so it wasn't as
just
upbeat pop, but it was still pop.
Great band. We will be digging into them later.
Sure.
Great band.
How have we gotten this far and not done that?
I know. I don't know. We've talked about them.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah. So the band we're going to play was sort of the band that was painted in the show as the villain, kind of the yang to Flicker Stick's yin. And this band is called Soul Cracker. Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, so they were the guys. They were kind of played off to be like, those guys are dicks.
They're dicks. We took down their flyers, man.
Right. They were those guys.
That would have been us.
So if you don't know Band on the Run, go on YouTube and check it out. It was on VH1. It ran from April 2nd to
99?
I think July. It was a short season even. It 2001.
2001. Okay.
It featured 4 unsigned bands, and they were all competing for this prize package of $50,000 in cash and then $100,000 in equipment from Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And then they also got a showcase in front of record execs, which that still meant something then, I guess.
Oh, so excited for that.
And they got a free video that was going to be aired on VH1 when that still
mattered,
something.
yeah.
VH1 picked 4 independent bands, put them on the road.
Cameras follow us everywhere.
We play the same towns, different venues every night.
And we live on $20 a day.
We only have 2 or 3 days to promote each show.
Whichever band can draw the most people and make the most money will stay on tour, and the people who don't make as much
You'll be kicked off and sent home.
And Flicker Stick won it, and so that's, they were obviously the best band on there. Flicker Stick's amazing. But this band, Soul Cracker, were really good too. And the thing about them, I don't know if they were really the way that they painted them to be on the program, but they had to make it so that one band looked like they were the villain and one band was the hero or whatever. But they're a band from Arizona. They moved to San Diego to try to make it big. And what they were doing was combining kind of their love of Fishbone with the Police, and that was kind of their goal, was to make that kind of music. They come across looking like a punk and ska band. I think I want to say they had 2 singers. They had one guy that played guitar and sang, and then they had a guy who was just a singer. So kind of like 311.
Yeah, they didn't have a guy just off to the side dancing by himself though.
Well, that was the guy. That was the singer guy, but he was also singing. So
okay, he had a job.
There was the band The Flies. I think they did the same thing. There was 311 did the same thing. So it was kind of a late 90s thing. But I think he also played another instrument. But I can't really remember. I have to go back and watch the show. But they came across as looking like a punk ska band, but their sound was very power pop. So they were a little conflicted with what they were doing and how they looked. But they did come in second, and they did release a couple of albums. They had a couple of EPs before the show, and then they released a full length after the show, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I can't find anything after the show.
Do you remember what the other two bands were?
There was a band that was, I think, literally put together just for the show called Harlow.
Okay, I
It was
remember
an
that.
all-female group. They were all good-looking, and they were playing they were supposed to be goth. They looked goth, but they didn't sound goth.
I don't remember. I remember the name, but I don't remember what they sounded like.
And if I remember correctly, they were like, some of them were still learning how to play their instruments.
Oh, great.
And I think they outlasted the other band, which was kind of an alty Dave Matthews-ish kind of sounding band called I think it was Josh Dodd Band or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. But they were the first band out, and then Harlow was the second band out, and then it came down to Soulcracker and Flickerstick. But it's a good watch. It's not very long, and I don't know. I really like the show, but they didn't bring it back. So I guess because all that stuff went away.
Yeah, it was changing pretty quick in 2001.
Yep. All right, so let's hear some Soulcracker from their album At Last for You, which happened to be their last. Here's the song, At Last for You.
Every romance by trying to make it last forever.
There's nothing in
with Marvelous 3 in the sense that the guitar sounded similar, some of the cadence, the way that he was singing, but they relied on that one hook too many times. It just kept repeating the same thing.
They could have edited that down a little bit.
Yeah, but this was in 2001-ish, right?
2001.
2001.
Yep.
So by then, like we said, the landscape was changing really quickly to, this was not what people wanted.
This was prime new metal time.
Angry metal.
A lot of rap metal.
Rap metal, all that crap. And so where Marvelous 3 had hit a sweet spot at the end of the 90s, and they were already kind of...
2001, they were out.
They were out.
Yeah.
Where this band was just starting something that had pretty much fizzled out already.
They were out too.
Yeah.
So they put this out, and then I don't see that anything happened after this came out.
Yeah.
Too bad. I thought they were really
it's
good.
Not bad. It's not bad.
I thought they were really good.
They could have, if they, about 3 years earlier, they would have had time to kind of mature a little bit musically and probably could have had a couple of hits.
Yeah, but I agree with you. It's the longest song we're playing today, and it could have been edited down to, they could have cut a full minute and a half off.
See, that's what I was good at.
You were good at that. You were. I was the prog guy. Like, hey, can we go for another 5 minutes? No.
Well,
no,
you would write the song, and it'd be 5 minutes long. And I'm like, hey, that's great. Let me just get a piece of paper here, and I'm going to just draw some diagrams, and we're going to see. Now it's 3.5 minutes. Done.
Yeah, you were very good at that.
Yeah, but
and I appreciate that now.
Well, they always boiled down to great songs. And that was a great way to write, is to take a song that's just there and just see, hey, what's the best parts of it? Let's just take the best of this one song, and you end up with a great song.
I prefer self-indulgence, but okay, whatever.
We were going back in that direction at the end. We never got it recorded, but after we went from completely self-indulgent, goofy prog, not even, just weird, and then we got some really good pop rock songs. And then after that, we were starting to write more like 4-minute songs again. Right. Yep. It was going back in that direction.
We had lots of vocals, though, coming in at the end. I remember.
Yeah, some
lots of great
oohs and ahs
harmonies.
And things. Yeah. So I think we might have circled back to that at some point.
And we have played our band, Big Jack Pneumatic. We've played on the last 2 Power Pop episodes that we've done, but I'm not playing one this time. I'm going to end. I think we've done enough of that. Yeah. What would you call that?
Self-gratification.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
We'll go with that. We'll go listen to it later without the general public.
But I'm going to end. We've talked a lot about Jellyfish, and their name always comes up whenever you hear the words power and pop put together. Mm-hmm. People say, oh, Jellyfish, I love that band. Again, a band that the critics loved. Musicians seem to still reference them to this day, yet they didn't really sell that many albums and didn't last too far into the 90s. But they were definitely a force to be reckoned with. So what happened to them? They released 2 albums in 1990 and 1993, made a big impact on the formation of the alternative scene, and even influenced hair metal at the time. Bands like Faith No More and bands that were kind of going a little bit more alternative with their metal, they loved Jellyfish. And Jellyfish was really power pop, mostly influenced by the Beatles. Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of quirkiness, a lot of harmonies, very Beatlesque. A quote that I read from a critic, because like I said, every critic seemed to love them, which usually means I would hate them, but
pretty much
you can't deny Jellyfish. They're really damn good. Here's a quote from a critic. They either arrived a decade and a half too late or were so far ahead of their time that they're still waiting for the rest of the world to catch up.
That sums it up.
Yeah, so that's kind of what happened. They broke up in 94 due to artistic differences. They didn't break up because they were forced to, because they couldn't sell albums. They were going to probably keep going, but they couldn't get along. They couldn't agree on the direction. They did so many different styles of music.
That's crazy. I can't imagine that happening.
So, where did they go? A couple of the members formed a very glam rock band in the mid-90s called Imperial Drag. Huh. And they had a minor hit. They were played on 99X.
Yeah.
Imperial Drag was a great band. I think the hit was called Boy or a Girl or Boy or a Girl, something like that. But they only had the one album, and then they were kind of out. They were a little too quirky, a little too 70s glam for the mid-90s. Mm-hmm. It just didn't work out for him in the kind of grunge and post-grunge era. And then in 2017, all the way to 2017, 3 of the former members reunited, and they formed this band called the Licorice Quartet. And they have released 3 EPs. And all the EPs are called Threesome. So they have Threesome Volume 1, 2, and 3. They released the first one in 2020, the second one in 21, and the third one in 22. I'm hoping that they're still going to do some more stuff, but these 3 EPs are awesome. And it's very Jellyfish. They're missing one of the primary members. Apparently they don't get along anymore. Mm-hmm. Artistic differences.
Yeah.
But it still has that same quality that Jellyfish had. There's quirky, and I'm going to play a song called In the Meantime, not the Space Hog song.
Oh, okay. I like that one too.
So this is from Threesome Volume 3 that came out last year, the Licorice Quartet.
great way to end it. That actually reminded me of the first band, Semisonic.
Yes.
And that was good quality power pop. Once again, it wasn't as formulaic, but it was there. You had a great riff. It was danceable, jokingly, and I think it had a little tambourine in it.
Oh yeah,
and I'll forgive the no hand claps or
no hand claps, but
that's all right.
Very jellyfish, like it moved to different places.
It took you on a
turns
journey.
and twists.
I got lost in it when it ended. I was like, oh crap, I got to actually talk now.
Cinematic.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. Okay,
but still syrupy sweet.
That was This episode was just bookended. Right, 2 bands I got to go back and listen to more again. And Dark Star, I got to do some more research on that to form a good opinion.
What the hell did you just say?
Yeah, Big Star.
I mean, Dark Star. I'm thinking Neil Diamond. Jesus.
So you're talking about Trip Shakespeare you're going to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every Avenue was the first band we played, but...
Yeah, the smart band that made me feel dumb for listening to
Trip
it.
Shakespeare.
That's why I couldn't remember their name. Yeah. My IQ just lowered.
Just remember, are you Shakespeareanist?
Yes. I am not, no.
So that's what I got for you, man. A little syrupy sweet. Like that song... I'm not sure that I would put down the windows and blast it, but
No. That was more, Sunday brunch time.
Yeah, in the house by yourself.
Yeah.
It's good music. It is really good music.
Well, your wife and kids wouldn't like that music? I think they would. I think your wife would like that.
No, she wouldn't.
She wouldn't?
No, she's not into this kind of stuff at all.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. I thought she would, at least by now.
No, it's too poppy for her. She likes like pop today pop.
Like K-pop. Or like Ed Sheeran.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
that
God,
kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I don't get it.
But she's smart.
She is smart.
I know. She's
smart.
She
likes Pink Floyd and Zeppelin.
Exactly. But then that's where it is.
She's listening to that crap. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll
keep working on her.
I don't know. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Yes, it was, mostly major chords here today.
Yes.
But we'll get back to something a little rougher and darker next time.
We got to cleanse the palate, man.
Exactly.
We can't get into too much of a groove.
All right, people. Until next time.
See you
later.